expert, even though he phoned me up 3 minutes before he made the CD asking me, what is native spirituality? And so I gave him a 3-minute course, of which he read a couple of phrases, and then he just talked. He just knew what it is. And that's where we have to evolve. We have to evolve how Sid sees it. And it's that way in every area. So Melinda, maybe you could tell that. Melinda has an incredible about medicine and innate health. Can you bring that in now? That would be a fabulous introduction to where we're going.
I can. Well, I think that, Harry, what you're talking about is when we had conversation, and something that I love to talk about with other folks who are Native or have that understanding, is that we might call that original medicine. In the three principles world, maybe we call that innate health. I think sometimes, because then I also walk the line of being a social worker as well, and we talk about it being the strengths approach. And so whatever language we're utilizing, like it's an echo of the truth, as Sid would say, because we're pointing at the same thing. We're trying to uncover the same thing. And I do like to think of that as our original medicine. That's what we have to share, and that's what we're uncovering. If you're working with someone in a helping field, whether that be in recovery or in a social work, I work in child welfare. If you're working with students, or if you're a life coach, whatever that area is, there's nothing you have to give really that they don't already have. Like, you're just helping them uncover it. And for me, as a helper and as a Native person, that's really freeing. We don't have to give anything. We're just uncovering.
Yeah, and Melinda brought us. What's that noise?
Don't know.
Melinda brought when we had talked that we wanted to share something relevant. She had talked to a shaman about the three principles, and she was talking to him about innate health. And he said, "Oh, you're talking about the original, what in these days we call this original medicine." So when we're talking about medicine, we're talking about innate health. It's just a different word for it. So don't get confused by the fact that it's got a new title to it.
Right.
And to be honest, medicine is an incredibly vivid description of innate health. And if the Native world is about healing, not solving problems. So if someone's got a problem, that's not a very important thing. We're talking about healing. Just what Sid was talking about. He's not talking about putting a Band-Aid on your sore. He's talking about, you've connected back to your spiritual essence. And I want to tell a little story in relationship to that, if I may. I went to a Thursday ago to a gathering in the part of Vancouver. I do a lot of work in addictions and in the Native world, and it was a Native gathering with a very wise, a couple of wise people leading it, and there was about 200 people, I guess. They're all from the east end of Vancouver, which is the very seedy part of town, and there's a lot of pain and suffering, and they wanted to help that. And I came in when there was the drumming and the shaman and chief. He's both, which is again a change of the times. Shaman were on one world, the politicians on the other world. But he's wise enough to bring those two worlds together and lead the people in a spiritual way rather than into an economic way. So if you're looking for economic answers to the Native world, forget it. If you're looking for housing and land and stuff, forget it. It's the same thing what Sid's talking about. When they experience the spirit inside themselves, they are heading in the right direction, and they don't need a lot of help. The Native people, once they connect to it, they're there. The problem is they don't stay there long enough, but they're still there, and they step into it very, very easily. It's intuitive to them. It's what Sid would call the intuitive mind. So anyway, so these people are there, and there's a lot of pain and suffering. I can feel it anyway. And in comes the bear dancers. And when the bear dancers come in, this soft, healing energy comes into play, like you would have at a 3P conference, no different. And this healing energy would come in, and they danced around, and you can touch the bear and the bear power. And then after we did that, they laid some cedar down and they brushed us off, which is a bunch lined up with big eagle feathers. And after that, the drums are playing, and I could hear it. You see, before I couldn't hear it. It's important to understand when your mind is busy with white man thoughts, and I hate that word, by the way, but if you're busy with your ideas of what this world is, you can't hear the music. You can't hear the drums. You have to hear the drums. It's just, if you want to go to where they are, you have to hear the drums. You have to hear the feeling of what they're expressing. And so I went by the drums, and then an elder talked, and he talked. It was so ironical because he said his message was, inside of us is this medicine, this sacred medicine. We are that sacred medicine. And the more you feel that sacred medicine when you get out and share that sacred medicine with other people, the more people will be helped in this world. And it's so it's the same message that Melinda had with her shaman friend, Buddy, and his talking. So we have this medicine, this original sacred medicine inside of us, and if we share it in a beautiful, beautiful way, we're going to get those beautiful feelings back. And that's just old wisdom. And in the native spiritual world, what happened was there was an enlightened lady. See, it's a female-based religion, Sheila. It's one thing to understand. All the religions are male-based. Native is woman-based, comes from a woman, female-based. And White Calf Woman was this enlightened woman. If you want to use that, she might have been a mystical creature. And she came into the world and taught the people. And I may tell this story a little longer, right? Because I don't want to dominate the time. But she taught the people, and she taught them about the original medicine. And she taught them about all the things that we teach in the three principles. And the three principles bring native spirituality into an even deeper level.